The man who promised "I alone can fix it" in his acceptance speech at the Republican National Convention last July has accomplished very little after 6 months in office as president. Instead, President Donald Trump has instilled a culture of chaotic infighting at the White House. He has failed to articulate a coherent foreign policy and unnerved America's closest allies, and he has fueled unprecedented divisiveness within the Republican Party. Trump's bombastic campaign rhetoric mobilized millions of frustrated Americans to vote for him last November and secure him an electoral college victory. He made many brash and unrealistic promises, but thankfully he has failed to deliver on most of them. Trump has not drained the swamp in Washington, he has only muddied the waters. He has not built a wall along the US-Mexican border. He has not reformed taxes, he has not fixed health care, and he has done nothing with the nation's infrastructure despite the fact that Republicans control both houses of Congress and the presidency. Instead, he has blamed Congress for his lack of progress. Trump has been on the defensive about Russia's interference on his behalf in the presidential election. He fired FBI Director James Comey. He has considered firing Attorney General Jeff Sessions for recusing himself from the Russian investigation, and he has harshly attacked Russia Special Counsel Robert Mueller for his widening probe into the scandal. Yet, he thanked Russian President Vladimir Putin for expelling 755 people from the American embassy in Moscow in response to new economic sanctions approved by Congress. "I'm very thankful that he let go of a large number of people, because now we have a smaller payroll," Trump inexplicably said, apparently not knowing that these diplomats and staff will continue to be paid. "Where's the outrage, Mr. President?" While the stock market has reached a record high in anticipation to reduced corporate taxes and regulations, there is a growing concern about the future. Trump's favorability rating in the national polls has slumped to a record low for any modern-day president. Even some of his most loyal supporters are beginning to raise their eyebrows. But Trump has tried to manipulate public opinion through his constant use of Twitter, often attacking the fake media and his opponents. The tweeter-in-chief explained his reason last month: "My use of social media is not presidential, it's modern-day presidential. Make America Great Again." Last December, then President-elect Donald Trump laid out his military policy. "We will stop racing to topple foreign regimes that we know nothing about, that we should not be involved with," he said at FD. Bragg. "Instead, our focus must be on defeating terrorism and destroying ISIS, and we will." But Trump's failure to effectively govern the country, and his inability to stop investigations into Russian interference and possible collusion with his campaign, may have changed his perspective. A timely leak that a U.S. intelligence agency assesses North Korea has produced nuclear weapons for ballistic missile delivery, to include delivery by ICBM-class missiles, triggered a brash response from the president. "North Korea best not make any more threats against the United States," he said at a meeting on the opioid crisis at his New Jersey golf club. "They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen." Trump's shoot-from-the-hip response rattled diplomats and military experts because an attack on North Korea would lead to millions of casualties in South Korea and the region, including Americans. Nonetheless, Trump continued his threats on Friday, saying the U.S. was locked and loaded, although the military had taken no additional action. But the president was not done issuing threats. Following a meeting with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, the president directed remarks at Venezuela, which has been in a state of crisis under its president, Nicolas Maduro. "You know, we are all over the world and we have troops all over the world in places that are very, very far away," he said. "Venezuela is not very far away and the people are suffering, and they are dying. We have many options for Venezuela, including a possible military option if necessary." Suddenly the man who had campaigned vigorously against senseless wars was warmongering. American diplomats scrambled to ease growing tensions in both Asia and South America. Meanwhile, Chinese President Xi Jinping warned Trump by phone on Saturday to avoid remarks and actions that escalate tensions on the Korean peninsula. And Peru's Foreign Minister, Ricardo Luna, who has been a vocal critic of the Venezuelan government, issued a statement, saying in part, "All foreign and domestic threats to resort to force undermine the goal of reinstating democratic governance in Venezuela, as well as the principles enshrined in the UN Charter." As tensions escalated with North Korea and Venezuela, violence broke out in Charlottesville, Virginia, led by hundreds of white nationalists protesting the removal of a statue of Robert E. Lee, a Confederate Army general. The Virginia governor declared a state of emergency. The former imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, David Duke, was among the protesters. "We are going to fulfill the promises of Donald Trump," Duke told reporters Saturday, "to take our country back." President Trump, who failed to denounce David Duke and the KKK during his campaign, tweeted a response on Saturday that failed to specifically mention the KKK. "We all must be united, condemn all that hate stands for. There is no place for this kind of violence in America. Let's all come together as one." As events around the world continue to spin out of control, the man who bragged "I alone can fix it" has once again revealed himself to the world as unqualified to be president. Trump told Reuters reporters last April, "I thought it would be easier. Unfortunately, the longer Trump is president, the tougher it gets for everyone else." Download. Do you have information you want to share with HuffPost? Here's how.